Alabama has completed its runoff elections. The main runoff election I was looking at was the 5th Congressional District in North Alabama and the Alabama Senate race on the Democratic side. For the Senate race, we're going to focus. We're going to zoom in tighter on the Alabama Senate race. We had Everett West versus Dakari Lariat. I met both gentlemen. They came out for one of our meetings at the Limestone County Democrat Party. It was very great to meet both people. Both individuals brought their unique experiences and skill set to run for Senate, and ultimately it was a tight race. It was a very tight race. Kind of going back a little, initially there were 4 people running for the Democratic nomination. Two black males, which is Everett West and Dakari Lariat. Then we had Mark Wheeler, who I met one time, and Kyle Sweetster, who I also met one time. But the top 2 people that end up going to the runoff, because not one person got the 50.1% vote that's needed to bypass a runoff, were Everett West, Dakari Lariat, who happened to be black or African American. That being said, and the reason why I feel in my videos I'm going to be talking a lot about race, because I do live in the state of Alabama, and not going to sugarcoat things, but Alabama history. Even if you're not from Alabama, and I'm originally not from Alabama, I was raised up north, but my father's side of the family was from Alabama. Even do my military time and travels and other stuff, a lot of people when they say Alabama, they're thinking to the 1960s civil rights movement. It is what it is. That's just the reality of it. But Alabama has progressed quite a bit. So I always want to say that. But most people in the United States and all over the world, when they think of Alabama, they're going to think of the civil rights movement, the black and white photos, the black and white videos, and progress has happened. So, and again, I feel compelled to speak on current events because I'm a realist. I'm a Democrat living in the great state of Alabama, and I call Alabama a great state because I consider it my home. I raised my family here, and North Alabama has been good to me. That's why I care. That's why I care. So I feel compelled once again to kind of touch on Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. Discuss in my 2 previous videos, the fight for representation. Also, my video with Progressive Democrat Jeremy DeVito. That was a great interview. Please watch them both. And also, please like, share, and subscribe. I'm a new podcast. And the reason why I felt compelled to do a podcast, because I felt that there isn't enough of a Democratic perspective in Alabama. A lot of the media, whether it's radio, TV, or internet in Alabama, leans towards Republicans and Republican, even MAGA. Now, if you're from California, New York, obviously the news tilts to the Democrat perspective. And I'm sure Republicans are saying the same thing I'm saying in Alabama. Republicans in New York or California, their views are not as predominant as the Democratic perspective. So it's the same way in Alabama, where I feel the Democratic perspective is drowned out by Republican media. And that's just what it is. I know a lot of Republicans. I work alongside Republicans. I interact with Republicans. But just speaking as a matter of fact, I feel that there's 45% of the Alabama population, which is Democratic and independent. Is you add those two groups together, that gives you 43, 45% based on, where you're looking, where you're doing your research from. So now there's other podcasts. One podcast I really like watching is Alabama Politics This Week with Josh Moon and David Pearson. They do a great job, but also feel that there's room for other Democratic voices from different perspectives. So I'm just lending my perspective. Retired military, worked in corrections, worked inside jail, detention centers for 22 years. I know what it's like to walk in, outman, outgun, and still complete my 12-hour shift and provide for my family and provide a public service. So going back to Alabama Senate race, Everett West eventually won the runoff. So now it's Everett West versus Barry Moore for the November 3rd, 2026 general election. Barry Moore, he's been a congressman for Alabama since, I believe, 2021. On this podcast, I'm not going to name call Republicans or talk bad at Republicans. He has views I don't agree with. I don't personally know the man. I really haven't researched him in depth. But he does have views that I don't agree with, and I guess he could say he don't agree with my views. That's America, We could disagree without always it being violent. Now, and of course, I guess he decided that he wants to go from being a representative to moving up to the Senate, and a lot of people do that, and that's fine. But he's a politician. He's been in Washington, D.C. for, since 2021. All right. And I think we've seen a lot of first-time candidates, and you could say a lot on the Democrat side and some on the Republican side, but I think majority on the Democrat side, first-timers. Because the one thing I feel, and also I see when I talk to other people, is that we don't want to elect another politician. We want to elect a person that will not forget where they come from. And I think that's very important. Also on the congressional 5th District side, Andrew Snead, and this is for North Alabama, Andrew Snead won the Democratic nomination. And he was in a runoff with Dr. Candace Dubier, and they were in a primary with Jeremy DeVito. And I said it from the beginning, no matter who won the nomination, that person will have my full support. So Andrew Snead is the guy, and I tend to lend my full support to Andrew Snead and any and all Democrat candidates in Alabama. But going back to the Senate race, if Everett West wins, I did my research, and if I'm wrong, guys, hey, put it in the comments. Again, like, share, subscribe. Also, put your opinions in the comments. I'm doing videos, but also I will engage with comment, reaction, opinions, views, criticisms, the whole 9 yards. Because that's how a conversation works. It's not one-sided. It's two sides listening to each other. So put your comments in there. But I did research, and of course, I looked at the Reconstruction era. But there were black congressmen or black representatives during the Reconstruction era after the Civil War. But Alabama has never had a U.S. senator. So if Everett West wins, he will be the first black senator from the state of Alabama. And guys, that would be huge. That would be I wouldn't say the equivalent, but that would be up there with Barack Obama winning the presidency back in 2008. And I still remember that. It was a time of hope. And Barack Obama just didn't win because black people voted for him. Black people only make up 12% of the U.S. population. But what Barack Obama did, and this is back in 2008. Of course, I was a lot younger, wasn't really following politics. But the one thing I do remember is that he reached out to everybody. You saw him in Iowa. You saw him in Nebraska. You saw him in Chicago. You saw him in New York. You saw him in different parts of the country. He didn't just try to get the black vote. He stated his case, and his job was to get every vote. And when he won by a majority. And I remember that one of the things he said was, even if you didn't vote for me, I'm still your president. I still will work for you. Wow, I miss people saying stuff like that. I do now in this time. So Alabama has an opportunity. Alabama has an opportunity to move away from its past. Now, I don't believe in tying somebody to the sins of the father, but also I feel Alabama has an opportunity to move forward from its past. Everett West, never heard of him until he started running for office. Again, he came out to our meeting at the Limestone County Democratic Party. And then afterwards, I kind of researched him in depth. This man, he was an IT analyst, I believe, like an engineer also. He worked on NASA projects, military projects, dealing in the IT sector. Now, most people will spend their careers in IT, engineering, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So he did this between 1985 to the year 2000. After 2000, I guess he went to law school, and then he became an attorney. And I believe he still have a practice, but also during that time, he became a municipal judge. He served on many civic organizations. And like I said, I went on his website to kind of look up this information. Work with groups that deal with the youth, which is fantastic. So this is a well-rounded man. And I said, Chris, with this Everett West background experience, if he was a white male, he would be a shoo-in to be a senator. So when the Supreme Court gutted the Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act by stating that race should not be a factor when drawing congressional lines. As much as people's upset about that, I try to be a realist. It is what it is. That's the new political world. And I think Democrats, we have to find ways to move forward to adapt to that change. But also, to me, what the Supreme Court was saying is, okay, well, we don't need to have special congressional districts that favor Democratic or even Black representation. Because keep in mind, the reason why, and I think a lot of Republicans tend to forget this or just don't want to discuss it. No, it's not that they forget about it. I don't think they just want to discuss it. They sometimes they don't want to discuss it. Not all Republicans, so let me be clear. I'm not generalizing everybody or anybody. There's a lot of fine Republicans I talk to on a daily basis that understand everything that's going on. So I don't want to say all, but there are some Republicans out there who tend to forget the reason why we had the Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. Because during the Revolution, when the Declaration of Independence was adopted in the Constitution, where it stated all men are created equal. No, not all men was created equal. The reason why the United States was formed, because the 13 colonies were the subjects of the British Empire of King George. And those colonies declared the independence from Great Britain for lack of representation because they were treated as second-class citizens. For example, George Washington, our first president, he wanted to be a British officer. Because he was born in the colonies, he couldn't be a British officer. Now, he could be in the militia, which is like a secondary, but he couldn't be a British officer because he wanted to move up in class and stature. And then the British government was taxing, or the British Empire was taxing the colonies unfairly. That's why America was formed. But blacks wasn't equal then. We get to the Civil War, and the war was fought over slavery. Yeah, it was state rights to keep 4 million people oppressed, but the core, it was slavery. So, and after that, we had a several 8-year period called Reconstruction, where progress was made, where black people were considered equal. One vote, one person. And that was great. Schools, because black people weren't taught how to read and write. Progress was made. But again, there were those that did not like that. And that's when we enter the era of the formation of the KKK, Jim Crow laws, and so forth. And then we move forward to the 1960s. And I believe in the statement, people should be treated by or seen by the content of their character and not the color of their skin. And again, I want to be clear. There has been progress. Yes, absolutely. There has been progress. Yes. But it wasn't free. It was earned. It was fought for. It was bled for. It was sacrificed for. Black people, white people, international community, they saw that no one's free till everybody's free. So it was a coalition of the willing. It wasn't just black people, so let me be clear when I state that, but it was a coalition of the willing, regardless of color, regardless of gender. So we get to Everett West. Impressive background, Democrat in Alabama. Now, anybody who's running as a Democrat in Alabama has an uphill battle, whether you're black or white. That's a true statement. That's a true statement. But I hope, and I say independents and Republicans, look at the man's credentials, look at his experience, and not just look at the color of his skin. Because when people interact with me on a variety of levels, yeah, I'm a black man because that's who I am. But I want them to see my worth, the content of my character. So we Alabama, and I live in Alabama. I say we, sweet home Alabama, all day, every day. Alabama, we have an opportunity to make a difference. I urge people to look at all candidates and decide which candidate will best represent you. Not allegiance to a party because your mama voted this way, your daddy, your granddaddy, your great-granddaddy voted this way. But come into 2026, just like the Supreme Court said, hey guys, we don't need Section 2. 6 conservative judges versus 3 liberal judges. But the sixth conservative judge said, hey, guys, in 2026, we don't need this. We don't need special maps tailored to a minority population due to the prejudice and oppression they have received for many, 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 many years. That's a fact. Okay. Let's put that to the test. Let's see if a person who works hard, who lifted himself up from their bootstraps, who wasn't given privilege, who wasn't given opportunities, but had to fight for it, grasp for it, take it. Just like the founders of America, nothing was given to them. Nothing was given to George Washington. Nothing was given to the founders. They had to fight for it, bleed for it. Let's see, Alabama, if we can do the right thing. Let's show the rest of the country and thus the rest of the world that we can elect somebody despite the color of their skin. Now, I'm taping this June 20th, 2026. I can't answer that question, what we're going to do. That question will be answered on November 3rd, 2026. And then that would tell us whether Alabama wants to move forward or stay in the past. Hey, let me know what you think about this video. Like, share, subscribe, leave your comments, opinions down in the comment section. I love to read the comments. I would definitely answer back. But I think this is important. I think this is important because I do talk to a lot of white people, and they say, Chris, we're tired of always being associated with a terrible history. I agree. Somebody today has nothing to do with what happened 200 years ago. But what we can do today is show today that we are and have been moving forward. Everett West has an impressive background. Most people are either an attorney or IT or engineer. This man went to school for both. Just giving my opinion. I believe he could be elected senator and be ready to work on day one. Everybody has their opinion. I'm just sharing mine. Love to hear yours. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.